Welcome back to the channel. In this episode we're going to have a look underneath a TR6. So if you're anything like me, normally when I'm underneath the TR6 the car's on axle stands, so it's about a foot in the air, which means by the time I'm underneath it there's about this much space between my eyes and the underneath of the car. And with these glasses that means I can focus on pretty much nothing. But getting underneath the car is essential for some of those key maintenance tasks. Also, if you're inspecting a car, you need to have a look underneath to see what it's like and if there's any work needed. So today, I've got the benefit of being able to put the car on a lift up in the air. And what we'll do is take a walk from the front to the back and take a look at some of the things you need to look at. So from the front then, first thing to have a look at is the condition of the anti-roll bar, bushes and bolts. The U-bolt here is relatively new, this has been replaced. We've got a poly bush on here as well, so this is in fairly good condition. If there's any movement there, that's going to need replacing. Then over to the side of the car, you can see your anti-roll bar link rods. So we're looking at the condition of the bushes at the bottom. Again, we've got some nice poly bushes here, and the condition of the ball joint at the top. We can cast our eye across. There's a grease point there on the upright, so an opportunity to grease the bottom of the trunnion. It's always a good chance to have a look at the tie rods as well. This one's got a grease nipple on the top, so again another opportunity just to pack that ball joint full of grease. One of the ball joints that goes quite commonly, so a good opportunity to get in there. And then looking above, we can see the brake union connections, so we're looking for any sign of rust there, just in case they need replacing. These in relatively good condition here. Next up, you've got the steering rack boots, so they're over there. We've got a zip tie on the end, but just noticing there's no zip tie or connector on the end on that end, so that's a little job I can get done now. And then also looking at the back of the wheel, it's a good chance to check out the condition of the brake disc and also the pads as well. Make sure they don't need replacing. Looking underneath the suspension, we've got the bushes at the bottom of the main kingpin there, so that's an opportunity just to have a look at those, make sure they're not broken in any way or damaged, and that you've got the split pin on the front of the castle ring holding the whole thing together. If you have got the wheels off the ground, this is a great time to check the wheel bearings, make sure they rotate smoothly, and rock the wheel backwards and forwards. Make sure there's no play in the wheel bearings. So these rotating as they should do. From underneath, you can cast your eyes to the top of the suspension. So we're there looking at the boot at the top of the main kingpin. So we can see if that's damaged or broken in any way, and also look at the condition of the bushes on the top wishbone there as well. Under the front wheel, if we look through the chassis there, we can see the three-way connector for the brake lines. So again, just checking for corrosion or any sign of damage there at what is a critical junction. It's always good looking back to the front of the car to have a look at the condition of these two Jubilee clips at the bottom of the radiator. Being exposed to so much road moisture and dirt, they do tend to corrode and become damaged quite quickly, so it's worth looking at the condition of that bottom hose there, as well as the condition of the radiator and along the front panel. Make sure there's no water leaks coming from that. So moving a little bit further back down the car, we can then have a look at the chassis that we've gone past so far. If you're new to TR6, one of the good things to look for on a chassis is the reinforcement that's been done down at the lower suspension mount. You can see that here. It's the panel that goes across here. And what that does is provide the lower suspension mount with a bit of extra rigidity at a point which is likely to fail. And if we're looking for corrosion, it's around this area here in particular that we want to be looking, as it's quite critical to the front suspension. If we have a look up here, you can see again the strengthening mounts here. So this area around the lower suspension, pay particular attention to. Moving a little bit further back then, we can have a look for oil leaks at the sump plug, oil filter. We can have a look for any evidence of clutch fluid at the slave cylinder here mounted to the side of the gearbox. We can have a look at any oil leaks potentially around the gearbox drain hole here, and also if the car is fitted with overdrive. It's an opportunity to have a look here to see if there's any oil leaks around this lower cover, in which case you could tighten that up. The solenoid, again, there's some light oil around here, and then some of the gaskets that mount at the back of the overdrive together with the speedo drive, which is mounted at the back here. So again, yes, some evidence of oil leaks. You can probably see a bit of oil on that cross member there, but not too bad. It could be a lot worse. Over on the side of the car then, you're going to want to pay particular attention to the sills. So this area here behind the front wheel can amass a lot of crud, dirt, moisture that can cause corrosion on the lower sills here. And you can see the construction of the sill, the floor coming across and then down a good 2 to 3 inches here. The sill mounted off that, welded off that. And then you've got these drain holes here. So if there's any moisture that gets into there, that's where it comes out. The catch with drain holes, of course, is they can become blocked, become an area for capturing dirt, and then ultimately corrosion from the inside out. If we look all along the sill, you can see these drain holes here, and that goes all the way back to the rear suspension, just in front of the cross member of the chassis here, finishing here, just in front of the rear wheel. Again, another key area, as there's going to be a lot of dirt and potentially water captured in this area, which could cause corrosion. So a good area to look at, inspect and clean out if necessary. So much is talked about the chassis on these cars, and rightly so, because if you've got a problem and corrosion with your chassis, part of it needs repairing or replacing, it's a pretty major job. You've got to lift the body off in order to get full access to it. It's going to be expensive and it's going to take a lot of time. So particular attention to the chassis is always a good thing. On the TR6, that starts right at the front of the car. It's a ladder frame, comes down the side, splits into 2 to go underneath the floor pan, and then comes back together again at the back where the rear suspension, the independent rear suspension, is mounted. The most famous piece of the TR6 chassis then being what they call the T-shirt. As you can probably see why, it looks like a bit of a T-shirt that sits in the middle. You can see if you look closely, there's 2 holes in the T-shirt. So that's to let any water or dirt ingress that gets captured inside come out. So always good to make sure all of the holes on the chassis, so the 2 on the T-shirt, 1 on the side rail here, are all clear and there's no sign of corrosion in those areas. So that brings us to the rear suspension, characterised by this cross beam here. You've got 2 brackets that are bolted onto it. Those brackets bolted through the chassis leg here. As you can see there, the nuts are on the other side. Definitely worth checking out that these are in good condition, because they are really hard work to get off if those bolts or nuts have corroded on. It's always worth keeping in good condition, good units, keep them well greased to avoid corrosion on those, to enable easy removal at any stage. Again, while we're looking here, you can see the holes in the chassis in order to let water or dirt out, but also that gives you the opportunity to put some corrosion protection in. So you can get some really good products on the market with long tubes that you can stick down these holes and then spray and extract, coating the inside of the chassis. Well worth doing. So the rear suspension then held on with these two brackets. You can get 3 different types of brackets, high, medium and low, and depending on which combination you use on the left and the right, that will set the camber on the rear suspension. I've decided a long time ago to go for the slightly more expensive option, which is these adjustable brackets. Makes the job very, very easy. Put the brackets on and then adjust the camber to suit, makes the car look exactly as it should do, gets the suspension working right. But whether you have that or not, a good opportunity to have a look at the condition of the bushes. Again, these are poly bushes, but if there's any cracking or damage to the rubber, those are going to need replacing. So that gets us to the rear axle of the car. First up on the outside then, let's have a look at the suspension. Over on the side then, first thing we can do is check the adjuster for the rear brakes, make sure that's nice and free, and we can adjust the brakes nice and easily. This car is equipped with a tube shock conversion, so we've got bushes on the top, we've got some poly bushes here on the bottom. So again, we're just checking the condition of those, making sure those are in good condition, everything's nice and tight. We can have a look at the brake pipes as well over the top, make sure those are in good condition, no corrosion. And then as we move inboard, as we move the wheels, what we're looking for is any play in the axles, but also then play in the differential. Any noise, any rubbing. Good chance to see if there's any issues here with the drivetrain. Just in front of the differential, we've got this little 3-way brake connector. So this is where the brakes are split to the front and rear wheel. Again, an area where we could experience corrosion. Not the easiest of jobs to do to replace that, particularly the pipes as they go inboard. They're quite difficult to fit. So if you can get underneath, making sure that's all in good order, it's well worth doing. Moving a little bit further out, we can now look at the differential itself. Have a look at the bushes. So you've got 2 at the front here, one on the left, one above the exhaust, a bit harder to get to. And then you've got 2 at the back here. I've replaced these with poly bushes. So those are in good order. No cracks, no damage, and doing what they should do. This differential's been fitted with a screw on the bottom, so I can drain out the oil and replace the oil nice and easily as well. Always a bonus. From the back, it gives you an opportunity to look down the gap here. So the exhaust goes through, the drive shaft goes just above it, but here in the gap in the chassis, just looking for any dirt, ingress, any collection of oil or dirt that needs removing, just to clean that out to protect the t-shirt, make sure that's in good order. Before we move backwards then, good opportunity to spin the wheels, see if we've got any binding on the brakes, and also adjust the brakes so they're in their best possible condition. So carrying on looking at the rear suspension. Here just behind the axles would normally be the Armstrong damper that would go across to the bottom of the rear trailing arm here, but I've got a tube shock conversion, so you can see here the bracket that sits on the chassis and goes up to the bodywork to provide the reinforcement for that. So just making sure that's in good order. And before we move away from the differential, a good opportunity to just give it a really good rock. Make sure none of the pins underneath holding the differential in are broken away from the chassis that will cause a knocking while driving the car traditionally, but also quite not the easiest of jobs, but part of the reinforcement process on that is to take that gap there just above the mounting and fill that in to stop any water ingress or dirt ingress getting into the pin that you can probably just about see there. Moving back out to the back of the car then, we can inspect the exhaust, make sure there's no cracking around the exhaust. Check the exhaust mounting, make sure that that's in good order. And then the back part of the chassis, it's always surprised me a little bit how open it is there. So dirt, water can get down there quite easily, and gravity is going to make it slide down to the bottom of the chassis rail, which is not a good thing. So always good to have a look at the condition around this end of the chassis. Make sure there's no damage going on there. And then looking over to the side, we can have a look up the side of the trunk to where the rear wing goes up. Again, looking for any sign of corrosion or need of body protection. All looking good, in good order at the moment. Don't forget to check out the condition of your tyres, of course, 1.6 millimeters. They may need replacing. And then finally, as we get to the back of the car, the rear sill along here, the rear valance, this is a common area of corrosion as the back of the car sees a lot of water. So potentially this sill edge here can corrode quite badly. So again, always worth a check there. Make sure that's in good, solid order. So I do hope you found that useful. A little bit of an insight into what's underneath your car, some of the things you can't see, and some of the things maybe you do want to see and you should be looking for. And it goes without saying, for one final time, if you're working underneath a car, make sure you have all the appropriate safety equipment. Make sure the car is well jacked and there's no risk of falling on top of you. So with that, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I look forward to reading all your comments. See you on the next video.